But I think what really bothers me about the movie is that it plays out like a video game, which is not necessarily like a bad thing. It's just, it feels like you're watching a series of cutscenes put together and they're pretending to be a movie.
Anywhere you go, give it all. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
Hey you guys, it's Yarn Goddess Cosplay and I'm back again with another Stitch and Bitch Sunday video. Today we're going to review the classic, the terrible movie Resident Evil Extinction. This movie was, I remember seeing it on Netflix and I remember like remembering it with fond memories and then rewatching it twice and just thinking to myself, I have no idea what's going on. There is no plot. I really like Carlos and I guess Alice is just undefeatable. I literally had to watch it 2 times and I still can't tell you what happened. In honor of this movie review, I've decided to put together a quick little closet cosplay of Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village? Resident Evil, hey, Dummy Mommy, y'all. Like, y'all look at the makeup look good. But today, because you know I'm also dressed up as Lady Dimitrescu for reviewing this Resident Evil movie, I'm crocheting a baby blanket for Ethan. If you're a fan of the video games, the movie is either going to be really enjoyable because you get to just watch more Resident Evil content. If you're not a fan of the video games or don't even know what the video games are, the movie is hella confusing. If you are a die-hard fan of the video games, you know damn well Alice does not exist in the game, so why is you here? If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for supporting my channel. We're almost at 300 subscribers. I am super excited about that because I'm just like, yo, when we hit 300, I don't know what's gonna happen, but like it's gonna be over. It's gonna be over for everyone. If you are a new viewer, thank you for clicking on my video. I'm not sure what the thumbnail was, but like, I got you. I gotta toot my own horn here for a second because y'all, this makeup, this might be I might wear this to Kroger. I'm not gonna lie. Like, will I get stares? Yes. Will men fear me? Hopefully. Resident Evil starts with Alice, our main character, waking up and thinking in the shower, fallen naked. If you're familiar with Resident Evil movies, you just know that Alice, Mila Jovovich, Mila, she's constantly naked. Like literally, I don't know what's up with the director, but every day he's just like, yo, Mila, yeah, your first opening scene? Yep, stark ass naked. She wakes up naked in a, I guess, mansion? I guess it's essentially a mansion, and she doesn't know what's going on. She's walking around, she's looking for clothing, she finds some clothes. We get the classic red dress in the last movie, because like, you know, if you're a fan, you know she got that red dress on. We all just like, it's the dress, it's the boots. But like, she's walking down the hallway, she sees a picture of, I think, her partner. That's a whole other thing. If you didn't watch the previous movies, I'm not gonna explain it. She sees a picture of her and her partner, and she basically is just like, okay, I remember this and all that. I remember where I am, but like, how do I get out of here? So essentially, she's in a old Raccoon City facility, and she's trying to escape out of it. I think we go through some of the throwbacks from the last movie where we have like the lasers that cut everything up, the killer, AI system that's just like save a few to save a lot, and we're just like, okay ma'am, psycho, but okay. And she eventually gets to like the end of the hall where she can see the outside. Now fortunately Mila's kind of suspicious. She's just like, you know what, I don't trust this. So she gets a little like gurney and she pushes it forward, and the gurney is cut in half by this giant like drop down, I don't know, blade. And she's freaking out because she's just like, oh my god, that could have been me. And I'm just like, girl, that could have been you, oh my god. And she, I think, steps forward and everything, the blade is down, and she's about to get to the outside, and then this giant like Raccoon City umbrella turret pops up, fires off, and she dies. We see her die, and you're kind of just like, god, that's how the movie begins? The main character just gets off like that? Wow, how are you gonna do the rest of the movie? And I think some Raccoon City like super scientists, I'm gonna call them super scientists, come in and they're just like, okay, take care of the body, get the blood sample, try it again. And you're just like, what's going on? What you mean get a blood sample? What are y'all doing down here? And so they pick up her body and they throw her basically into a pit. Oh yeah, there probably needs to be a trigger warning. I'm so desensitized to this, I'm sorry. Anywho, yeah, so they throw her into a pit, and then we see that it's not just her, but like a bunch of other bodies that look exactly like her. And then you realize Raccoon City is trying to clone Alice and recreate, I guess just recreate her. Because the one thing about Alice is that she was able, her cells for some reason were able to merge perfectly with the T virus. The T virus is the virus that starts all this. It is the villain of all the video games and all of the movies, okay? Without the T virus, we wouldn't even have Resident Evil. So just know, if you hear T virus, that's the OG. That is the big boss, okay? They're the reason for the season. We also get to see him. He basically plays like, the main bad guy, the main scientist that's like, I'm willing to do this at all costs, any cost. I don't really care about you. I don't care about science. And you're just like, okay, you're gonna be an asshole. I don't know why they make, I think Deadpool made that joke too. I don't know why every bad guy movie, especially like Big Bad, has to be British. Like, part of me is just like, y'all do know you can make them American and have the same effect, right? We cut to the next scene and we get to see Alice driving out in the desert. I think it's presumed that they're in Nevada, because I know later in the movie they stop by Vegas. So yeah, they're out in Nevada. Alice is looking like a badass and everything. She got her new fit on. She got the jacket. She got the gun. She got the blaze and everything. Girl looking dangerous. She looking good though. So Alice is essentially trying to find Claire and the gang from the last movie, because Claire's with Carlos and everything else. And she's following them, I think, via radio, because like different radio frequencies that people keep putting out. If you're a survivor, if you're this, come over here and we'll help you. And I never really understood that in zombie apocalypse movies. Like, if you're trying to hide from things and people and the zombies are listening, why would you have an open radio frequency where you're just like, hey, if you hear this, this is where we are? I understand the zombies aren't smart, but also, why would you have to do that regularly? Makes noise. Anywho, it's just a personal irritation. We see Alice and she comes out, and then I think she hears on the radio frequency that someone else is asking for help. And this essentially plays out like when you start a game and they're just like, hey, we know you played the last game. Let's make sure you still know how to use the controls. Here, play through this playable cutscene and learn how to press the buttons again. And that's literally what happens. We have a little quick mini side quest where she gets trapped by some, I don't know, I'm gonna call them cannibals. It's your typical zombie apocalypse people that are just like tricking other people and eating them, just your simple stuff. So they capture her and all that, and it's just literally just you going, okay guys, ready? Let's go. Press X to do a jump. Ta-da! Press Y to do a backflip. Wow! Okay, press both at the same time to kill both of the zombie dogs. Ta-da! Ta-da! Congrats, you got through the tutorial. Alice gets past that, and we cut to the next scene with Claire in the convoy. And Claire been busy. I'm not gonna lie, Claire been busy. She got a whole school bus full of kids. She got some adults. Carlos is with her. LJ's with her. She got everybody. She's like, listen, okay, I'm saving people out on these streets, okay? The zombies, at least in my problems, okay? I'm trying to make people dreams come true, and we trying to get to some kind of sanctuary together. Y'all, Shanti's in this. I forgot she was in this because I think this is why I have a hard time remembering this movie, because it's the early 2000s and we got a black girl in a horror film. Yo, she ain't gonna make it. Ain't no one black gonna make it through this. Anywho, they're talking about getting the smoke, but they're also mostly talking about what they're gonna do, because they can't just keep driving indefinitely. They keep stopping for gas in various places, and every time they stop it's like a risk, because we in a zombie apocalypse. And I think they eventually decide to like stop at a nearby town and get gas, and also just kind of like find food and figure out what they're going to do next. So the next scene cuts over to Raccoon City, and what you see that the big bad guys and everything, all of Raccoon City is just like, listen, do you have any results, doctor? Doctor's like, no sir, I don't have any results. I'm lying, but like, science. They basically are just like, hey, we need you to get some results to us, like, ASAP. We're running out of time, and also we're just running out of funds and all that. And you kind of get like there is a hierarchy tension where the scientist is like the bad guy and he wants to do what he wants to do, but then Raccoon City's like, we want you to do this way, and he's just like, okay, cool, I hear you, but I'm a little bit more radical than you. I just kind of want to be reckless and see I really just want to fuck around and find out, okay? And y'all over here talking about rules. We see the the killer AI, which is a new program that's a little bit less murderous and I guess listens a little bit more. And he's basically talking to her, and she's just like, listen, you're not going to get through this project without the original Project Alice. So, shit out of luck, fam. And he's irritated because he's just like, I know I made you, but like, not so loud. So we cut back over to the convoy, and they manage to stop by a little abandoned motel. And this scene here, they get out, Carlos and LJ go into the motel to check to see if there's any zombies. And they are. Yeah, there's zombies out there. We out here in these streets. And I think Carlos ends up fighting off one of the zombie. And LJ has to fight off not one, but two zombies. And I'm just like, LJ, my boy, what are you doing? What's going on? So he kills off the first zombie. I'm not gonna lie, this got me. Because one thing I will give this movie a smidge of credit, because they do a really good job with the jump scenes. Or the jump scares, because I was crocheting and casually watching, because I've seen this movie like 12 times. So I was like, oh yeah, I remember. I did not, because there's one where the audio, I think what gets the audio spikes a little bit. So you get this rawr, but like it's a rawr, and it's so quiet beforehand. So it's less scary and more shocking, because you just really sitting there minding your business, and then you hear someone gurgling in your ear, and you're like, what in the hell's going on? So LJ is also equally scared because, you know, he gotta fight a zombie now. And he fights off the first zombie, but like, unfortunately, there's two of them. There's two of them. And then he gets tricked because he looks at the reflection, but he doesn't look behind him. And the second zombie, I think, gets killed by Carlos. Carlos is like, you okay? LJ lies, and he's like, yeah, I'm fine. But my boy got bit. And this is where we get to see Ashanti up close, because Ashanti basically comes in and she's just like, hey, I'm playing this girl named Betty and everything. I'm the local nurse and all that. How can I help you? I don't know if I actually got a medical degree or not, but like, I'm cute and my butt cute too. So that's all you need to know. That's literally it. They like, we literally watch her walk away because LJ is watching her walk away, and the two of them have chemistry because there's only two black characters in this movie. LJ, I think, is like just kind of casually sitting there like, okay, I gotta hide this bite. And you know what's upsetting? He didn't get bit like on the arm or on the leg or on the neck. My dude got bit on the titty. The disrespect. I always thought if the zombie had to bite me on my titty, I'm like, yo, this is some bullshit. Take me out, I'm done. Carlos and everyone else, they're working on securing their perimeter, they're looking around, and they're getting food and stuff. And basically this is a chance for Claire to kind of sit down to everyone and be like, hey, we low on food supplies, we don't have a lot of anything, and I'm not saying we're gonna die out here, but I'm definitely saying that we finna struggle these next few days, so we need to work on a game plan. She's just like, okay, I hear you, we'll worry about it later and all that. Let's just focus on making sure everyone has food, everyone's eating, and making sure that our perimeter is set up. So while they're setting up the perimeter, we cut back over to Alice, and she's out in the desert, and I think she's listening, and she has like a map or something. She has something to kind of follow them, and she's like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I'm going to get closer and closer. Now, Alice, I think at some point falls asleep, and Mr. Bad Scientist is working on one of the clones, and they're somehow connected via telekinesis or something. I don't know. Basically, she starts remembering stuff from the last movie, and she starts using her telekinesis powers because everything starts floating, right? And I'm just like, oh, okay, she got powers. Okay. I'm not really sure how this works, but I see what y'all trying to do here. So she's using her powers and all that. There's like a little flashback from the last movie. They're trying to figure out what's going on. She wakes up, and then she like drops everything. And this scene is only important because she had a motorcycle that she was using to keep up with the convoy. And the motorcycle is also being lifted. And then when she wakes up, everything drops and the motorcycle breaks. So she is just kind of like mildly irritated. I don't know. She's kind of just like, damn. It's like when you wake up and you're on your period. You're like, God damn it. What also is important about this scene is that it takes off the AI's beta wave sensor. I don't know, they do something like, they use some like geographical terms and stuff, make it sound real fancy. It's like, yes, the geometrics spices were lifted and the seasoning salt was higher than usual, and now we think Project Alice is nearby. Next thing we cut to is everyone else back at the convoy, and this scene was mad annoying because essentially their sensors are going off because they have like a little perimeter to kind of sense any kind of movement to like you know, alert people and wake up and get them moving if a zombie walks by. And it's not zombies, it's birds. They were eating, I think, infected flesh, which we see earlier at some point, but it's basically they infected now too. So cue Attack of the Birds. This scene was just I don't know what was it about it. I think it was just the animation, because they have these ravens essentially have like infected looking eyes and stuff, and everyone's like, what's wrong with their eyes? And they're like, don't make a sound, don't move, and all that. We just gotta slowly get out of here. And I'm just like, how do y'all think you're gonna get out of here with a shit ton of ravens around you? Also, there's a shit ton of ravens around you, so like, how do you think this is gonna play out, Claire? I just really want to know. So yeah, so I think they are very quietly trying to like hide from the ravens, and someone drops a can that ticks them off, and the ravens just, they go off. They're like, bitch, we found you. The CGI is so bad. I remember the CGI was bad before, but like this was this. They get ticked off, and then now they have to like, you know, drive away aggressively because these ravens are batshit crazy because they've been eating infected flesh and they're also infected. This scene is vaguely important because as the ravens are coming down to where they are, Alice is walking through the desert. Yes, walking, because she a badass. And she sees that all these black ravens just kind of come down. So she's like, I think my friends are that way. It's just a sneaking suspicion I have. So the ravens are wrecking them, okay? I'm not like, they try driving off. The guy who's in charge of the school bus with the freaking kids on board crashes the school bus with the freaking kids on board. I'm like, sir, you have one job. So now Claire sees this and she's like, oh great, we gotta go back and help them. And I'm like, girl, who's in charge of the children? Because this is stressing me out. So they go back and they try to like save the school bus. But these ravens are like beating them, like they wrecking them and everything. They're just like, they're batshit crazy. They're basically slamming into the windshield over and over again to break it. And I'm guessing it also gave them like extra strength or something, because none of them are really dying. And it hurts me because like, I think the other bus that gets stuck is LJ and Betty, the two black people who are conveniently get stuck in the same car together because they're, I don't know, the sand is too high or something. They can't drive. So they run outside and they're like, oh gosh, the bus is down too. Let's go help them. So LJ and Betty are helping out the bus. The ravens are wrecking people. So also, these ravens are fucking ghetto. They are playing Knuck If You Buck loud as hell because I think they have like a little ladder to get the adults and the kids off the bus into the next truck so that they can, like, you know, not have to worry about jumping down, and it's just faster, right? And these ravens straight up flew in between them, knocked the person down, like they just mollywopped her, and then they just pecked her to death. And I'm just like, fortunately none of the kids get hurt. We're just gonna say that because it stresses me out as a person, so I'm just gonna say that the kids are fine. This scene pisses me off because essentially the bus is, the windshield's broken. LJ is on the truck with the rest of the team. Carlos is trying to help save as many people as possible. Claire is driving off now. Betty goes back to save this one little boy, and it's just annoying because like she's getting pecked, right? And as she saves the little boy, she hands him off to LJ. She looks at him and she's just like, and he's just like, and she closes the bus door because now the ravens are through the windshield and they're coming directly at her. And the scene is both irritating because I don't know who directed this scene in particular, but like the audio is really loud for the gunfire. The quickness is very choppy. I'm guessing they're trying to mimic birds or something, but like it makes my eyes hurt every time because it's too jerky of a movement. And then of course the black girl dies. This is why I don't like black people in horror movies. We don't make it. LJ's distraught and all that, and Carlos is out trying to save one other girl. I think she fell underneath the bus at some point, but the birds didn't get her. There's one guy who got on top of one of the buses and he had like a flamethrower. I was like, where the fuck was that? Like, y'all could have led with that shit, but okay. The guy using the flamethrower eventually gets like knocked over by the birds, and the flamethrower basically turns around and Carlos sees it and he's trying to protect the girl, but they're definitely gonna get burned, right? Psych! Nope. Alice is up here using her telekinesis and she's just like, hey friend, let me just take this fire and just like multiply it and burn all the birds. And it's very dramatic. Me looking up like, fire. I am the Avatar. So yeah, she kills all the birds and everything. Carlos is just like, oh my god, my friend. The convoy comes back. They're like, yo, what the hell? And Alice is just like, hey y'all, I see y'all need some help, right? They cut back over to, I think, the scientists down in Raccoon City. And oh, it's not really a Raccoon City, it's just like a Raccoon City facility. But they cut back over to them, and his AI system is like, yo, listen, okay, the seasoning and salt levels are extremely fucking high, all right? And I'm 60, I went from 49% sure that we use too much to 67% sure that this is definitely Project Alice, because the seismic gauge of the black and pepper garlic seasoning, can't be anyone else, okay? It has to be Alice. So basically he goes to his officials and he's like, yo, listen, okay, I am 67% sure this is Project Alice and I need her to finish my research, and if you want domesticated zombies, I'm gonna need her. So y'all gotta do what I say. And basically tell him no. They're like, sir, you going upstairs, because they're underground, and he's like, y'all been making surface level trips way too many times. We lost a lot of people. There was a scene earlier where you just let people die because your little domesticated zombie juice did not work for a long period of time, and you were like, oop, and then you let the other two die. So yeah, we're limited on resources and we don't trust you, so no. So he's obviously irritated, but it's fine because he got the voice from the, I think, commander and all that. So he's gonna take that, cut it up, and basically use it to like make a false message over to the rest of the team and have them give him resources to go get Project Alice. I don't know what I just said, but just it made sense in the movie, okay? So just assume it made sense here too. I love Carlos so much. I just love this actor because like he was in The Mummy, and I was just like, and then like I'm bi, so like between him and Evie, I was just like, I don't know what this is, but we'll figure it out later. I come back over to him and he's just like, why'd you come back? And she's like, people around me die, but also I missed you. I'm like, Alice, why are you here? If you actively know Raccoon City is hunting you, why in the world are you like going to tell this man, people around me die, but missed you? But girl, same, I will risk it all for him too. So Claire and everything is like, hey, yeah, my convoy died off and everything. That little cool trick was all nice and everything, but now my people are shooketh because we don't know what you are. And she's like, yeah, you should be scared, but you know what? It's fine because I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best. But yeah. So they're just like, okay, where are we gonna go? She mentions Arcadia, which is relevant for the next movie because it's like a safe haven. And she's like, we need to go to Alaska. And I'm like, how the fuck y'all gonna go to Alaska in a car? You are in Nevada, baby. How are you gonna get there? So Claire basically is like the same way, where she's just like, Alaska? The fuck? Look at my group. The only way they could make it to Alaska? We had 40 people before you came here. Now we're down to less than 30. How are we gonna do this? So basically Carlos is just like, you know, they need something to believe in, and like, let's go tell them, like, you know, Alaska, and let's stop by, I think Claire's like, okay, let's stop by Vegas first and everything, get some gas, and then we'll head on over to Nevada. Raccoon City people are getting their little convoy together and they're about to head out to Las Vegas with them as well. And I don't understand, can someone explain this to me? Why is Las Vegas almost always in a zombie movie? Like, I've noticed this is like a reoccurring theme where if you watch enough zombie films, Las Vegas just has to be in it at some point, and I don't know why. So if you know the answer, let me know. Maybe it's something that I missed, but yeah. So they basically go over to Las Vegas, and the surprise, Las Vegas is covered in the desert. And they're just like, why is everything covered in sand? Like, we were expecting a bunch of zombies here, but there's nothing out here, like, at all. And they essentially say, like, you know, no one here to keep the desert out, so the desert claimed it back, or whatever. Just something vaguely like, you know, Gaia said she wants this shit back, and so she's doing that. LJ's looking worse and worse by the minute. I'm not gonna lie, he's not looking good. Oh yeah, there was... I don't know what her purpose was, but this made me laugh. At some point, Alice is sleeping, and when she wakes up, she has like a bracelet on her arm, and there's this one girl, I forget, I know I've seen her in other stuff before, but I forget what she's been in, but like, she's watching her sleep essentially, and she's like, oh, did you give me this bracelet? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, what's your name? And I kid you not, she looks her in the eyes and she's like, my name is Kmart. You did not tell me. You did not just say you're. Like, I know we're supposed to be in a zombie apocalypse and everything, but this girl literally just said my name is Kmart. I'm like, girl, they could have found you in a Sears or a Saks Fifth or a Burlington Coat Factory. God, and I think what bothers me is that this is like the only scene where we see her, and she just goes out of her way to tell her that her name, because no one else from like the original movie or the movie prior gets an intro and a name like this. And I was like, why? What? You see this like giant crate that's like in the way. Alice goes to check it out. She's like, everyone back up. Surprise, it's zombies. But it's not regular zombies. It's zombies from the Raccoon City's facility. So cue epic fight scene. Lots of blood, lots of gore. People are dying. People are screaming. People are running around. Kmart screams like twice. I'm like, ma'am, why is you here? Why are you outside if you can't fire off a gun or kill a zombie? I'm like, what? I think like a couple, like literally everyone just like dies. Like it's not even that exciting of a scene because it's just it's literally just like another cutscene. Like you're playing a video game and they're just like, hey guys, remember how we taught you how to press X and Y and do jumps and stuff? Now use all those together and look at these really cool moves and combos you could do. The only important scenes about this is that Raccoon City apparently can shut down Alice via satellite. Does that make any sense? I don't know, but they do. Claire is solidifying her status as a badass. She's killing off zombies in the most epic ways possible. Carlos is just, looking good, killing zombies, taking names, kicking butt. He just doing his thing. LJ is slowly but surely becoming more and more infected. And, oh god, I think LJ's in the truck with Kmart. And LJ eventually turns, and I hate this scene because when he turns, Carlos comes in and like stops him from attacking Kmart, but not before LJ bites him. And I'm just like, Carlos, like, no. And it's so irritating because like they kill Carlos, or they kill LJ, and Carlos is like, damn, they got me. And everyone's just like, no, not Carlos. And I think they eventually finish off the scene with Alice fighting off the program that makes her freeze or whatever. She basically, I don't know, manages to, I don't even know how. She just knows they're here, so she manages to find them. And the scene's also kind of funny because the two security guards that are with the mad scientist are just like, we can't stop her. The program's not working. What's happening? And the one black security guard goes, oh shit. I don't know the way he says it because it's the way he said it. I don't even know like how to properly explain the way he says, oh shit. Like it's like he just knows they in deep shit and there's no getting out of this, and he's kind of afraid, but he's also just very black right now. He says it in a very African American way that brings me joy, because if I saw Alice, the person I was just fucking with, looking at me and coming to my tent, I would go, oh shit. The mad scientist gets away, but not until he gets bit by one of his zombies, karma, and he flies off. I think Kmart somehow falls behind Alice and she's like, why didn't you shoot the helicopter? And she's like, because we're not going to drive to Alaska. And I'm like, bitch, that's what I'm saying too. How are you going to get to Alaska via car? You can't. So she's basically like, okay, let's take the rest of the people, get them together, and then go to where this helicopter is, and then take the helicopter, and they all could go fly off the sanctuary or whatever. It's also just presumed that there's enough gas in the tank to make it from Nevada to Alaska. So yeah, we're not gonna worry about those details. So we come back, the gang gets back together, and Carlos is like, I'm bit, and everyone's like, damn, no. And then he basically is just like, hey, this is where we gotta go. I have an idea, like the facility is surrounded by zombies, so they have to figure out a way to get in there. But before we get to this scene, we cut back over to the mad scientist, and he's taking literally all of the T-virus serums that basically, the cure or whatever, and none of them are working because he's like, hey, Alice's blood mixed with this, and now it's stronger, and now our little T-virus cure isn't working, so I guess I'm just going to turn into a zombie now, it's fine. So one of the other officials is like, hey, we heard what you're doing, we know you did this, you lied, you're doing too much, you fucking around, and now you're about to find out, so we're just going to kill you now. So when the official tries to kill him, I like the way he does it though, because he's just like, hey, you're about to get liquefied. And he's like, liquefied, liquidation, what are you talking about? And he's just like, no, just fucking die. And I'm just like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Just fucking go, my guy, you fucking annoying. And after he shoots him, the security guards are just like, wait, no, look. And then what we get? Classic Resident Evil tentacle hands. So he dies, the mad scientist is turning to a super zombie. He's essentially turning into the final boss. We get to Alice and the gang, and they're saying their goodbyes to Carlos, because Carlos is like, I have a plan. We don't know what that plan is, but it definitely means he's going to die. So he basically gets one of the really big trucks in the tanks. It's not really a tank, but like it's like a tanker, like, you know, the really big trucks that carry gasoline. Yeah, he grabs that and he basically drives it into the zombie horde that's outside of the complex. And it's funny because he's like, oh, I wish I had a smoke. And as he's turning the wheel to make sure that, like, you know, he does a little sweep so that it gets as many zombies as possible, a singular blunt rolls out from behind the mirror. And he's just like, LJ, you son of a bitch. You killed me, but I see you looking out for me in the afterlife. So I remember watching it and being like, oh, cool, he gets a little cigarette before he dies. And now as an adult, I'm kind of just like, no, my dude, my dude getting high as a kite. But I remember when I was younger, I was like, well, I remember this scene just kind of like, it was cool. Like, it was cool because I really like, it's just the level of badassery where you're just sitting there, you lit your little blunt and everything, you're huffing and puffing, zombies about to come in, you about to get blown up and all that, but you were at peace. Okay, you were just at peace with everything. You're like, you know what? This is a good way to go. As an adult, I am a millennial and I'm just like, bitch, same, okay? Over here, let me roll this blunt real quick. But I like the way he kind of dies. I do like the way he dies because as he gets his blunt, he looks up and he sees the zombies are getting to the truck a little bit faster than he would like, and he kind of goes, oh hell. And it's not really like an all hell like I need bullets up faster. It's like an all hell like I want to get high first, so I'm gonna need y'all to park it and slow it the fuck down because I want to get at least one puff in before I go. And I'm just like, I identify so hard with this scene. I want a little before I go too. Like, can y'all please just slow down? Let me get like a puff. Cause we not passing. Yeah, so he blows up and everything. They floor it. They get to the base, and the helicopter is conveniently there, gassed up, keys in the helicopter, ready to go. So they all fly off, and Kmart is like, Alice, you're not gonna come with me? And Alice is like, no, I'm the main character and also the playable character. You're just an NPC. I have to go fight the final boss. So they fly off. Players like, you know, you did good or whatever, and they, I guess, essentially like, they don't pop back up again until like the next movie, because they made like 7 of these. I think they're making an 8th one, or maybe 6 movies. They made more than 5. Alice basically goes down and finds the little facility. She realizes that everything is wrecked, and the little AI is like, hey Alice, I'm the sister program, but I have the doctor contained in here, and if you could just do me a favor and kill it, that would be great. And she's just like, yeah, no, totally, I can do this. So she essentially kills the doctor. More fight scenes, more telekinesis that don't make no sense. And I think the only real thing to remember here is that Alice sees one of the clones, and she like gets pushed into it because it's essentially inside of like a water bubble. And when the clone wakes up, you assume it died because like just the general shock killed it, but it doesn't. So the final scene is Alice gets it down into the little laser hallway that we saw in the very beginning of the movie, and the doctor's like, you can't kill me, I'm invincible or whatever, I'm the future. And she's like, you're not the future, you're just an asshole. And I'm just like, girl, you could just say he's a man, like it's the same thing. He gets cut up by the lasers, and before the lasers get to her clone, surprise surprise, is actually alive, and she stops it. And then we get to see Alice and her clone get together in terrible CGI, and we look out and see that there's a shit ton of clones. Like, not like 1, not 10, but a shit ton of clones. So basically she's like, hey guys, so I'm gonna take all these clones and wake them up, and I'm gonna go find the rest of Raccoon City's officials, and I'm just gonna wreck you. Yeah, down the patriarchy, okay? One thing I appreciate about Resident Evil is that as much as it is bad, it is short. It's only an hour and a half long, and it kind of feels that way, but then before you like get tired of it, you kind of realize, oh, I'm halfway done. And then when you are tired of it, you're like, oh, there's only 5 minutes left. So they did a good job timing how much you could take, because Zack Snyder 2.5 hours is too fucking long. Still working on the baby blanket. It's getting bigger. I've worked on this one on and off for like a while now, and I don't know when she's gonna be done, but she's soft, so I like it. But Ethan, I have your baby blanket waiting for you. Go find me in my tower and I'll give it to you. But if you enjoyed this video and you're thinking, a like and a share just isn't enough. She deserves a little bit more. Like, the makeup was fire today. Go check out my Buy Me a Coffee. Over there you can buy me a cake. They're worth $5, and the money goes to just supporting me and my business, and also allows me to do more fun stuff. I am gonna plug my Amazon wishlist, because the more I keep looking at myself in this camera, the more I'm just like, yeah, no, this needs to be a full cosplay. So if you want to help fund the Dami Mommy cosplay, feel free to check out the link in the description box below for my Amazon wishlist. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video.